Hey guys, how are you going? My name is VaulSC, and today I'm going to be talking about Asteroid Blues, which is the latest Corvus Belli infiNity online campaign, which I believe is partnered with Beasts of War. They have been doing one of these every year for quite a few years. It started with Flame Strike, and then went through Wotan and Karagi Crisis and so on and so on, and the latest one is Asteroid Blues. I have talked about the campaign in other videos in the past. I was pretty negative about it a couple of years ago, I think particularly in Strike Zone Wotan. There are a lot of things about these campaigns that I do not like. But today I want to approach the campaign in a bit more of a balanced way and talk about some of the positive things and some of the reasons why you might want to participate in the campaign and what you can get out of it. But also offer some advice and caution for avoiding, the negative side of it and the bad things that these campaigns bring out of certain people in certain parts of the community. So, let's dive into it. Asteroid Blues. I like to think that each time they do one of these campaigns, they improve the formula a little bit, they make things a little bit better and better, but any improvements really are incremental. What you generally get here is just more of the same each time. So why would you want to get involved in a campaign like this? Why participate in the first place? Well, first reason is that a lot of people are posting some quite good quality bat reps with some really nice photographs of their armies and are putting a lot of effort into their bat reps. And for that alone, it's worth at least visiting the site, even if you don't make an account. There are some reports out there that are quite good looking. I'm just going to be randomly clicking on a few as I'm making this video, so I can't guarantee that these ones will be great. But there is some good material out there, and once there's quite a lot of bat reps uploaded, you can start filtering them in terms of which ones do have pictures, which ones do have a certain number of words, and view them that way. Secondarily, for those people who really like the idea of narrative and story and role-playing, it gives you the chance to engage with other members of the community who like that as well, and you can sort of get into the spirit of the campaign, the feel of fighting faction versus faction, and being a part of the greater world, the greater environment. So at this point in my commentary, I think I'll just touch on the main sort of advice that I like to give, and the main sort of thrust of this video, and that is how to really avoid the negativity of campaigns like this. So my first piece of advice really is this. Don't go out of your way to try and secure a victory for your faction. And I know that sounds really unintuitive and strange, because it seems like when you participate, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, that is your goal going into it. But I'll say it again. Don't go out of your way to try and secure a victory for your faction. And I want to explain what I mean by that as clearly as I can. So, for example, a lot of people come into this under the impression that if they upload a battle report and they have it as a win for their faction and they put it in the right area, it's going to affect these pie graphs showing that nomads are doing well in this area, or Pan-Oceania are doing this area, and what contributes to that score going up or down is the number of people from that faction posting winning battle reports there. So that causes some people to then go, oh, okay, I understand that mechanic. What do I need to do then? Well, I need to go and play some games of infiNity, and I need to win those games, and I just need to upload some basic battle reports of me achieving that and accomplishing that. And once that starts happening, and once you get too far into that mindset, there is a danger of, people specifically going after members of their community which they can beat. And that's very negative, because if you have 6 people to choose from when you're playing, or 12 people, or whatever it may be, or even 3 people, but you're only playing against that one person that you know that you can crush every single time, you might tend to do that more so than playing against people that you'll actually have a good, decent, competitive, exciting game with that will result in a bat rep that we're more interested in watching. Instead, it will be very one-sided against somebody who just isn't able to put up a fight. And in previous campaigns, we have seen that, unfortunately. So a lot of people just going, oh, okay, I'm going to upload win after win after win after win. The battle reports are going to be very minimal, very repetitive, and nobody really wants to see that, and it kind of makes the campaign a waste of time. Secondarily, it's not great for the recipient of that, the person who's having to be crushed every single time if they don't really know what's going on. Another thing about that is that some people are targeting folks who aren't involved in the campaign themselves or trying to do anything with it. So the person you're targeting there and farming the wins out of is not really having any say in which territory you post the win into. So let's say, for example, I am a Hakislam player and I want Hakislam to do really well in this hangars zone. I might play against some newbie in my meta and beat them up a whole bunch of times, and I'll pick somebody who isn't involved in the campaign themselves, because then otherwise they might want to post the game in one of the other regions where my win won't really matter, and due to their submissive nature on it, we're just playing that same mission or reporting that same kind of battle report over and over and over again. So please, guys, don't be that person. Because we see that every campaign, and if you're going to participate in a campaign like this, don't do that. What you should do instead is focus on quality, not quantity. Upload your losses as well as your wins. Make sure that your bat reps are interesting, and the most interesting bat reps are going to be between, this guy from this faction who is participating in the campaign and posting some wins and losses, and that person has an encounter and conflict against this other person who's in the campaign, playing a different faction, getting wins and losses. And we're so much more interested in the narrative there as to sort of what happens when those two players meet, especially if it's in a zone where it's kind of even, like in the battery field right now, Ariadne versus Hakislam. If we've got an Ariadne player and a Hakislam player posting a bat rep and they're both involved in the campaign, they've already played a few games each, and the win is going to swing it a little bit, that becomes a lot more interesting, right? So that's my first main piece of advice, and if you're able to follow that advice, you'll make the campaign better for yourself and for others as well. Really, there's such little reward and such trivial reward from having that tiny impact in the campaign by posting extra wins. Realistically, what we're seeing here is more just a poll of which players play various factions. The ultimate outcome of the campaign is going to be very much randomized and will have very little to do with you as an individual. Let's be real about that. Like if you're going onto an online game like an MMORPG or a Battle Royale style game, and you're involved in a very large team of people up against another very large team of people, your individual contribution is not going to matter very much. It's going to be very much determined by the overall mass, if I can put it that way. So hopefully I've made my point there. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, for the love of God, really just focus on quality and reporting what really happened, and try and make it about you versus other people in the campaign rather than just trivial win farming. The next thing I want to talk about and give advice on is about bat reps themselves. As you guys know, I do bat reps on YouTube, that is, and this campaign's a bit different because it's not really so much about YouTube bat reps and video bat reps as it is about text and uploading images, and some people put a lot of effort into that and do it very well, and unfortunately other people don't really do that so much. I really can't see the point of uploading a bat rep if you're really just going to post one photo and no text, or a little bit of text and no photos, for example. Everybody in this day and age, has a cell phone, I'm pretty sure. And it's really not hard to take some pictures of your game and the maps. My advice is take photos that are close-ups of your models, and also photos that are zoom outs of the battlefield, rather than just one or the other. That gives people looking at the bat rep a sense of your table, and the table is almost like one of the characters in the game of the infiNity. But also the more close-up photos give you a bit more of a sense of the conflict and the confrontation. And we can see the real games being played. That's really important. And with the text, you don't really need to be over the top with it. It's fine to just give a play-by-play rundown of what actually happened, or a really narrative-style approach to it, just so long as it's nice and concise and readable and broken up into decent paragraphs, right? I also really appreciate the people who post the bat rep in their own language, but provide a little bit of English translation as well. You don't need to translate every sentence. Maybe just give a bit of an overview for those of us who don't speak Spanish or Russian or whatever it may be. Other thing is about the video that you can attach to the game. I see so many people posting a video purely because the bat rep gives you a score, and everybody has that psychological attachment to leveling up and earning points. And because the website rewards you, I mean, the rest of the community is not rewarding you, but the website's rewarding you in the form of these very trivial points. A lot of people are just putting a link to a music video, for example. And the rules clearly say upload a video of your game. It's not just any random video. Now, I get it. Some people do like the idea of having, a thematic music video that relates to your faction. And, if you really want to do that, we can't stop you. But it's much more interesting to look at a video that actually shows a verification that you really played the game and provides us some information, just to walk around at the table. So, as I said before, most people have a cell phone. You don't have to, put all the effort into doing a big long bat rep like I do, for example, or that, GMG Games do, or whatever they're called. But seriously, if you pick up your phone, press record, walk around the table, do a quick zoom in, and make it last like 20 seconds. And just do a quick talk as you're going around, or even just no talking, and upload that. Just have a random YouTube channel where you just chuck a few videos like that on for the sake of your bat reps. And that way you've accomplished the video aspect of it. Nobody can really question that you really played the game. They can, but it's just a bit more likely that you really did the setup when you have a video accompanying it. And that is really much better than just posting some really trivial music video from YouTube, in my view. So there you go. As for the the factions and the actual narrative itself, I still think that Corvus Belli and Beasts of War haven't really brought the formula along a very long way. One thing that I think would improve this is making the the secular factions forums a little bit more interactive. I think that you could have like little polls where everybody who's, say, a Haqqislam player can vote on some particular aspect of the narrative, and it wouldn't really affect the games very much. Or if you wanted to, you could have a very slight thing like, okay, option A, if everybody votes for that, then you get maybe some bonus to winning the initiative role if you play on this particular map. Or for the next few days of bat reps, if you vote option B, other people get this bonus. I know that they already have this in the form of some missions give certain factions bonuses. I've seen that around. But it would be cool if the community is sort of participating a little bit more in the story of that, or even just in terms of what the faction's doing on the asteroid, for example, so that when the story progresses, it's about sort of how each faction as a whole unit voted, which I think would be kind of cool. Again, these pie graphs are generally what motivate people to come to these campaigns. I find that a little bit annoying. There's so many people just log onto this website and go, okay, this is the state of play, and this is what motivates me to post a win in a particular area. And I find that a little bit of a shame that, for example, you've got a couple of areas that maybe dominated one particular faction, and that prevents other factions from bothering to post games that happened there. It really is just all about which theater you have your win in. I noticed they've changed the formula a little bit for wins and losses and the type of bat rep you post, counting for a certain number of points. They have improved that since Flamestrike, but there's more that they can do in my view. I think that if I was responsible for doing a campaign like this, I would make the interface very easy to use and the rules of it very simple on the front end, but on the back end I would have quite a complicated algorithm for working out how many points you get, more so than what they've got here. For example, what I would do is I would attribute very few points to your win if you've already played that particular opponent and beat them a whole bunch of times already. Whereas if you play against somebody else who's also in the campaign and both of you have already won 10 games and uploaded 10 games each, and you happen to beat that person, that win should be worth a lot. And if it's particularly significant, that's the kind of thing where I'd do a feature battle report and you'll be on the front page and there'd be a link like right here to that one, because it's this really prominent leading general from Haqqislam managed to defeat the really prominent general from Ariadna, and this was a big moment in the campaign. Whereas if you are just picking on the same person over and over and over again, your reward for that should diminish and diminish, diminish, and less value should be attributed to that. I do notice that there is sometimes a big drop-off in interest halfway through these campaigns, where you get partway through it and a lot of people stop posting bat reps, and I think that's because a lot of people out there really just lose momentum and lose interest after they realize how much effort goes into actually typing up the report, uploading the pictures, and seeing everybody else post a whole bunch of reports after them, which pushes their report to the bottom of the feed. So there's a lot of that around, but again, it's about your mentality coming into the campaign. If you want to participate in this kind of thing, make sure your expectations are set right. Make sure that your motivations and reasons for participating are correct. It should be about enjoying other people's bat reps as much as it is getting your own stuff out there. It should be about quality over quantity, and it should be about friendly, lighthearted competition. And remember, whoever wins the campaign, it doesn't really matter, because it's not like an ITS event where the outcome is under your control and there's a lot you can do to place in the top 3 or win the tournament or be in the top half or whatever your goal is. That's on you. You've got your dice, but you've also got your decisions and your army list, whereas a campaign like this, really, what can you honestly do to influence, the campaign when there are so many hundreds of people participating? I really wouldn't recommend trying to, is what I'm trying to say there. So I will be having some limited involvement in this one. I've already posted one bat rep from last night. I was playing against a newer player who'd already wanted to play me from last week, so that wasn't really like a specific choice. And I've put my bat rep up for 012 for that one. I will have 2 accounts on the website. One will be under the name VaulSC, which will be an 012 account, and the other one will be VaulCA, as in Combined Army, for my Combined Army and Shazfasti reports. So look out for them. Generally, when I post my YouTube videos, there'll be a link in the video description if it takes you to one of the bat reps on Asteroid Blues if you want to see text and photos for some reason, but you'll get most of the content from my YouTube videos, as always. So there you go, guys. Let me know what you think of Asteroid Blues. Try and be lighthearted about the campaign. I'm not going to hate on it as much as I did in previous years. I know that a lot of people get a lot out of these campaigns and enjoy them, so continue to do that.